excited to be here today with Pete Ferguson, some of the scholars, and Bobby, who is joining us today via Facebook. And in reality, this session will be part of our social justice program, who will also have two students from Omaha Public Schools. And I'm excited to be here with them and to talk a little bit more about the Youth Rally and March Committee that Desiree and Evelyn are part of, and to see a snippet of a film that was made earlier in the year that really talks about and kind of showcases what the students go through, how they get ready to do this march, in combination with Pete and Bobby, and with what they're learning as they're going through this. And it's all about a book that they choose every year to act out. And so with that, I'm introducing Pete Ferguson.
Awesome.
How are you, Pete?
No, great. Thanks for having us, Francisca. I appreciate it.
Thank you very much. And then Desiree and Evelyn will introduce themselves in a moment. But Pete, I would really like for you to talk about this project. I believe this is the first year that you had them do, kind of like a movie behind it, a documentary.
Yeah, no, I think it's been a long road coming, and it's actually the first year we've ever had a documentary, so to speak, made of anything that we've done. But it's a variety of different components. The rally itself started in 1993 under the guidance of the late Dr. Leola Bullock, who was a longtime civil rights leader here in the community. And those who've been around or not been around have heard Dr. Bullock's name and Dr. Shanks. And under the good fortune of her, she saw the vision of wanting to empower and elevate scholar voice, but also recognizing there's going to be a time in the near future that a lot of those individuals who were familiar with Dr. King and the social justice movement of the, not only just the 60s, but the 40s, the 50s, the 60s that needed that legacy, and those that mountaintop that needed to be achieved needed to be done by other individuals, and that was the young people. And so her, Ms. Stokes, Ms. Mays, Dr. Jake Kirkland, Chantal Fu, a number of individuals saw the Youth Rally and March as an opportunity for scholar voice, and would have a rally and a march every year in conjunction with the national celebration of Dr. King's Day. It was a program that was unique. It promoted the life and dreams, not just the dream, but the dreams of the late Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King, Dr. Leola Bullock, through Positive Youth Action, which you see here with Desiree and Evelyn sitting before you. And it was a tremendous showcase where it empowered, educated, but also entertained. And I think that's the unique part about it. It's a one of a kind in the country. There's other celebrations and youth showcases, but what's nice about this is it's entirely youth planned, but it's also, there's no adults that speak. And so within that, there's music, there's poetry, there's original pieces, and then within the last probably 14, 15 years, we always look for unique components, and through that came an idea, to be perfectly honest, off a number of different things, I had to reflect on how this came about, but Clinton Elementary had a thing called Big Words, Strong Words, and Willie Banks had every year had them do a book about Reverend Dr. King, and it was a phenomenal play and skit that they did, that they went across the community and did. And also, I remember I had a daughter, Jaden, and I remember my mom every year, she was a 40-year-old school teacher, and every year she'd give that gift, not an Atari, not a Commodore 64, they're too young to know what that is, but a PlayStation or whatever, every kid wants it for Christmas, but she would always give my daughter a children's book. And I just reflected on this a couple weeks ago, but she would always give her a children's book, and she would sign and put a message in it. And we still have all those, and that to me kind of where this kind of started was giving her a book that had it was a reflection of her, and it had scholars of color and diversity in it, and so through that project we kind of had, there was a group at Belmont, Ms. Ehrlich has been a part of, but again for 15 years we've had this group of leaders at Belmont, and we looked for a way after the group got done with their leadership opportunity to actually put something into action, and it became this book project. And so each year we invest and they create a book project with no promises of getting into the rally in March.
Right.
But it has been truly something that's been phenomenal, where it captures the essence of not just telling a story, but they're showcasing a story that many people have lived.
Right.
whether that's the Birmingham Children's March, whether that's the power behind the song of We Shall Overcome, whether it's a book about being undefeated. And last year was just a unique opportunity that built upon the many years before that they did a book called This Is the Dream, and spoke about the hopes, desires, and wishes that each and every one of us want for our children, but more so what we want for the city, the state, and the country, and the world as a whole.
Well, so I did have the opportunity to watch the documentary, and let me tell you, first of all, how impressed I was by the leadership of the scholars. I was like, wow. And then the involvement of the teachers, of yourself, and I mean, it's real, like the emotions, what we hear, I mean, it's history, and to see how everybody worked together to make this, it's a dream. It's to come true, and to see everybody go forward and be strong, and to learn the lines, and to see the process of making the decision of what to do, and then how to practice it, and how to implement it. And so, Bobby, I don't know if you want to share your experience and how you and Pete worked together on this project.
I've been blessed to collaborate and partner with Pete both as a professional, and also I was honored to be Jaden's teacher in 5th grade too. So as parents and educators, and I've grown personally through the experiences and professionally as I learn with and from Pete, but most importantly from the scholars, as you were just speaking of, the opportunity to collaborate and to experience opportunities where you see young people live their legacies, and they don't have to wait till they're 25 or 35 or 55 years old. They're finding their voice. They're having the opportunity to take what they learn and put it into action each and every day. I thank Pete for taking myself and all of these scholars on this journey that will have changed our lives forever. And it changes the culture and the family essence of being a part of the Belmont Cougars.
Absolutely. And so we do have two scholars here today, and I'm so happy and proud to meet you both, Desiree and Evelyn. And so I'm going to start with you, Desiree. If you could please introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about yourself.
Okay. My name is Desiree Chavez. I currently attend the University of Nebraska studying business administration. I like to identify myself as a young, proud Hispanic woman. I like to say that my purpose is to learn as much as I can. I feel like knowledge is very powerful in this world, and I definitely try to insert myself in as many opportunities as I can and to learn as many topics in life as I can.
Wonderful, wonderful. And Evelyn?
Hi, my name is Evelyn Ungere, and I was a part of the tracks, the track program, and I currently attend Park Middle School. I just started this year, and I am very happy that I have this opportunity to be a part of this school. I really enjoyed the teachers, and they really blessed me with the opportunity to learn this knowledge, and I really want to take this knowledge and do something with it in the future. So, yeah.
So either one of you is welcome to answer, but what do you both think? As you know, as adults, we think we know everything, and we really don't. We think we've learned everything, and we haven't. And one of the things that I think as adults we ignore is the fact that as young scholars, young people, you do have your thoughts and emotions. So, and either one of you can answer, but what would you say to the individuals who, because of your age, you feel like you have learned, especially from like the young scholars and the program, the youth rally? Explain to us what that is like for you to learn that in such an early age, and what your emotions are about it.
I feel a lot of times people try to discourage us by our age, but I feel that intelligence does not have an age requirement. And I feel that, us firsthand witnessing all the events that have occurred in society, it's kind of forced us to understand these events, even if we did not want to. So I feel like we definitely understand what's going on at any age group.
Wow.
Yeah, I agree with this because, so like how Pete Ferguson said when I was in this group, people try to push us down when we're such at a little age, but when we understand these events and how they occurred and what we can do to make our daily lives better and learn from it, you can really think back then and say, oh wow, these people did not treat these other people kindly. What if I go and help this person? What if I would go tell this person what to do if they're doing something wrong? So it's really about, like, at a young age, it's fine. At an old age, at a medium age, it doesn't matter. It just matters that you're doing something to help the community, and that's just what you would do.
So we need to pay attention more to young individuals, I think. Wow, that, it's the maturity level. It's incredible that you both have. It's wonderful. So I think we have a lot to learn. Right. And that also says a lot about you, Pete, and Bobby, about what you've taught the scholars. And so with that, we are going to take a moment and we're going to watch a snippet of that video and see how the scholars actually came together and made this documentary that is well known right now across, at least in Lincoln. And I know that it's being seen in so many places, but we would like to play that video for you now.
If you can spur people to want to know more and learn more and then do more and be better, that's what we want this to do as well.
Every year I think, I don't think we're going to make it. And we have never not made it.
What we do every day is way more than just a math lesson or a writing lesson. Hopefully it's for life.
It's going to change the world, really.
Even today, yesterday, in 2021, there is still segregation. The 2021 Belmont Track Scholars bring to life This Is the Dream by Diane Z. Shore, Jessica Alexander, and illustrated by James Ransom.
This is the dream.
Our nation was founded on the belief that all men are created equal. I'm here to represent a struggle that has gone on for 300 or more years.
However young you are, you have a responsibility to seek to make your nation a better nation in which to live.
We are the diners who have sat and who have waited at white. White only counters ignoring the hate.
Honestly, I just felt like I want to cry. I was so pleased, so happy, so emotional.
We embrace our power! I introduce to you Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. I remember that Monday morning that I was able to be in court, Chief Defender.
A lot of people don't think that younger kids are capable of understanding everything that's going on in the world right now.
I want you, yes you, to take steps with me for justice for Breonna Taylor. I walk together, taking 2.23 miles of steps of kindness, honoring Ahmaud Arbery.
This is like living proof that they do and that they're acting in it as well.
We must walk together for 8 minutes and 46 seconds for equality for George Floyd.
So many people think, oh, they're so young, they can't understand this, but they do. They live it from their hearts and souls. They brought it, they shined, they empowered, they shared their voices, and they delivered the inspiration that the world needs.
Let us be sure our hands are clean in the struggle. Let us never fight with falsehood or violence, hate, malice, but always fight with love. We will be able to live with people as their brothers and sisters. No seat, no ride. No seat, no ride. What did we say? No seat, no ride. Yeah!
Sincerely, I'm so glad. I did
tears up. It shows that those kids, they have what it takes.
Even when the words not seem harsh or offensive, the impact is still shattering.
It's just amazing to see the things that she wants to do at this age, and I'm so very proud of her.
What each of us must come to realize is that our intent always comes through.
If you can't fly, then run. If you can't run, then walk. If you can't walk, then crawl. But whatever you do, you have to keep on moving forward.
And so as I weep now, it's because I think back to what I saw, and they believed every word. And then to see them say, we're not finished yet.
But I'm not done yet.
And they said those 8 affirmations.
I love myself, I believe in myself, I'm proud of myself, I'm a genius. I can, I will, I must, and I got this.
And when I see that, I know there's hope for the future. I'm convinced that there's hope.
So as you have watched the video now, I hope that some of you took the time to really think and really internalize what those emotions were. Because I recall when I watched this video for the first time, I mean, it's hard right now, right? Due to COVID, due to a lot of things that have happened in the past 1.5 to 2 years. And so I watched and I caught myself almost crying. Not crying because I felt sad, but the emotion of seeing the young scholars and what leadership they took and the responsibility and their hard work to learn their lines and to be there with such emotion. It's almost like they were living it in real time. And so, I mean, I get chills talking about it right now. That is the emotion that I felt as I watched this video. And then seeing you, Pete, and Bobby, giving them direction, but they were still taking it upon themselves to make it what it was. So, Pete, can you please tell us a little bit more about what were you feeling during this process? I know that you are so involved with them, but I mean, what were you feeling, really?
I think it was interesting. I have to give credit to Brian and David, who are the producers, because, we've done this a number of years. I've been involved in 26 youth rallies and marches, and I will be perfectly honest, I've never, it was one time that allowed me the time to reflect and actually see the process and see things come together, whereas other people have seen it and pointed things out. And so, I really didn't feel it till after I saw it. Because people are like, how does it come together? Or what did you do? Or when did you do this? And then you're looking and you're like, oh, okay, that was a moment. Or I said this and I said that. And so I have to give, like I said, Brian and David credit for actually capturing that. Yeah. Because the one thing that's unique is that you saw 1 year. And you saw a year that we were having a pandemic, and it was definitely unique. But to be perfectly honest, that was a similar story and similar effort and similar investment from many of those individuals that were involved for years prior. For the other 14, 15 years that were done before, for the 23 years I've been involved in the rally, for the Eva Souls, the Chantal Foos, the Jay Beermans. And so what I felt is, to be honest, the same thing I felt every year that I saw it come to fruition. And not so much the day of. I always tell them that the day of is great and it's gravy, and that's the thing that gets on the news, and that's the thing people celebrate. But I get to feel that first meeting. I get to feel their part going from being someone who may not speak out in front of people, and we're not professional speaking coaches, and we're not professional, I have enough knowledge to be dangerous and saying things that don't make sense, and they're like, okay, it doesn't make sense, and Mrs. E's like, just ignore it, and Desiree's like, okay, you're just talking again, probably like I am now. But to see those moments when they connect and they realize the power and value of who they are, when to feel that I'm supporting the hopes and dreams, not just that I have for them, but that their parents had for them at birth. I am just complimenting everything that they deserve, that they're entitled to, and that they should have. And I'm fortunate enough to be able to have opportunities to put them in space for that to be seen. I'm thankful for the various community members and friends who honestly invest their time, talents, and honestly financially to make things happen. It doesn't happen alone. And so what I feel is fortunate that these scholars have continued to build and do things in such a way that it has put voices in the forefront, and they're saying things sometimes other people are saying, but they're looking at them and they're saying thank you. And we get a note that day and says, Evelyn, thank you for saying what you said. And it's somebody who's 70 years old. It's Desiree, thank you for being who you are. And not only do their peers look up to them, but to be perfectly honest, you have grown adults that look up to them. And so for me, it provides a feeling of not just hope, because hope can go away, but a belief that we will accomplish equity. We will accomplish many of the things that honestly my mom didn't get to experience or my father didn't get to experience. It's belief that my daughter will get to experience those things that we always talked about, that we dreamed about. And so that feeling is awesome, but it's through the process that I get fortunate enough, not just the one time of watching it for 53 minutes, I get it throughout that entire period of time that I get to engage with this each and every year.
Right. Yeah. And it's true. Like as adults, you're right. We've it's almost like we live through the scholars when I see that video. It really is. Because I don't recall being in school and having that opportunity to voice, right? And I don't know, Pete, if you can, kind of have that same feeling when we were in school, and even with Bobby, I can't even not imagine as a fourth grade teacher and seeing that, how this program has impacted the scholars. And Bobby, can you talk a little bit more about that, about the impact that it's had on them, what it's had on you also, as not only a teacher, but as an individual who's been a part of this program for so many years?
It really is an opportunity for young people to find their voice and to realize that their voice matters and what their hearts and their passions and their souls are all about. And as they find that and they discover that on this journey that Pete was speaking of, it creates opportunities when you participate in the youth rally and all of the events leading up to it and the blessings of all the events that occur after. And especially this year with the documentary, we've had a variety of opportunities to really reach beyond even areas that we ever probably dreamed of. But it's allowing these young people to realize that they're living a legacy now and that they have the opportunity. We're creating those experiences. You may read something in a book, you may learn something from a video clip, you may discover something by asking a question, but we're creating opportunities for these young people to actually use and live what their voice is all about. When you watch that clip and you see Evelyn share the love and the opportunity to understand and to live what equality, kindness, justice, and civility is truly about, and that all people, as she's spoken earlier, have the opportunity to choose that every day. We're creating those experiences with these scholars where they get the opportunity to live it. As a community, as a family here at Belmont, it gives us something in common to rally around and to be supportive of as adults, as well as the rest of the scholars in our team and in our building. And so with that common purpose, that common central opportunity, we've had adults and children together collectively walk together on something that makes a difference in every single person's life every single day. And with that comes such a great sense of pride, of faith that this is going forward in the right direction, of that love that you hear, and of the gratitude that we have as adults too, as an educator. I mean, what an amazing opportunity to see young people take something that they've learned. And a lot of times coming into this project, there are kind of some blurry lines. They don't understand all of this history. and real events that people live that are in our lives now. And so to watch them gain that understanding, but then start putting it into action is the greatest gift we can ever have. And that impact goes way beyond as an educator, then as a human being. What responsibilities do I have to also walk with them in this journey? It's the most impactful thing I've ever been able to do in the 33 years that I've been blessed to be a part of the Belmont community.
Thank you so much for that. What an insight. And you mentioned Evelyn and what she was stating as her part. So Evelyn, in your part, you state some of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.'s words from his 1957 Birth of a Nation. And that sounds like it's, let us be our hands, are clean in the struggle. Let us never fight with falsehood or violence, hate, malice, but always fight with love. What does that mean to you? Because you say it with such emotion. I love it.
It means that when you are really passionate about what you believe and that you really believe in something and you want others to believe it too, but you feel very sad about it, but you are very mad about it, you have to do it with love. Because if other people see that, they're going to take it as something that's bad or hurtful. But we don't want to sell that message. We want to sell a message that tell other people, this is what I believe. Do you believe it too? And do you want to walk with me so we can walk together? Because that's what this is all about. This is all about walking together and telling other people about what you feel. Because some people are very shy, just like me. Some people are very shy to tell other people what they think. And that is not how you should live your life. You should live your life how you want and how you believe, because your voice counts, and not everybody can tell you that your voice is not what you should say. This is not what you should do. Do this and say this. No, you might think that that's what Mrs. Ehrlich and Mr. Pete Ferguson was trying to tell us, but no, they were giving us history, and we were taking that and using our voices to bring that out into the world and to give a message so that everybody can know that their voice matters.
You're absolutely right. And I can, whoa, you both have done such an awesome job. That is so true. And you have, I'm speechless and I'm sorry. Wow. You know, I can't wait to see what your future holds, because you're such a leader, both of you. And that's what we need, right, going forward. I mean, we're adults, and it's not that we can't lead right now, but we certainly need to teach the younger generation to be able to lead. And that just speaks to what two great leaders you've had in your life to teach you exactly what you just talked about. That love and finding the people who need to get them to be there, right? So I so appreciate those words. You both have done such an awesome job. You can pat yourselves on the back for that.
That's their parents.
Oh, yes, and your parents, absolutely, because you know what we also learn at home impacts us, right? So this is awesome. I have a question for all of you, and anyone can answer, is what would you say to us as individuals and collectively our responsibility? What should we do to take steps to walk together toward equity, justice, civility, and kindness in our community and in our world?
Do any of you guys want to talk?
You can go ahead if you'd like. Go ahead.
You feel it, say it.
So how we can walk together towards justice, equity, kindness, and civility. We can do that by hearing each other's words and really thinking about that. Because what other people's voice, it just doesn't, so it does count, but we have to listen to other people's voices. We have to listen to those that are against us, to know what they believe and what they think is wrong. We have to walk together with kindness so that we can know and that we can act to each other with kindness, because kindness is what brings us together. And we need equity, because equity is what helps us become equal. Some people think that they're better than other people, and some people think that they're low, they're not good at all. But that is not true. Everybody is equal in every kind of way, and just because they're equal, it doesn't mean they're unique too. And civility, we want everybody to be together, and we want to share the message, because that is what helps people become one, and that is what we need in our world, because most of the time people, they don't like to share their message because they might think it's rude, or it's aggressive, or it's just not what people think, but we don't want that.
Thank you very much. Pete, did you want to add something?
I'm gonna let Desiree go ahead.
I feel that some immediate steps that can be taken is just to be really empathetic towards everyone and towards each and every conversation. I feel like you should always respect everyone's background and values, because I feel like it's that respect that's going to allow us to walk together towards civility and kindness.
Wow, thank you. And Bobby, since you're on Zoom, what do you think we need to do? I mean, I know that you teach your students, and you've done such a wonderful job, but, I think sometimes as adults, we don't hear it. We hear the message that our scholars are saying, but I think it takes a little bit more for the rest of us to really understand and comprehend. Because one thing's to hear it, but then to actually comprehend it and follow through.
You just exactly said what I was going to share. One of our ultimate goals as the book project becomes unveiled in whatever capacity, whether it's the documentary or through a read-in or through the youth rally, we always hope that, as Pete shared earlier, it empowers, it educates, it entertains, and hopefully it brings a sense of inspiration. But that has to be with each and every one of us, whether it's a child or an adult, opening up our hearts and our minds to ask ourselves and reflect. Am I living the message that I just heard? Am I taking on these steps to walk together with others who want to live with this true civility? Am I making choices in my personal and professional life to walk together with others to create that more perfect union and better world for all individuals? And until we all each individually reflect and open up our hearts to do that, that's where the true growth then truly starts coming. And that's where the true walking together and making a difference. And these young people, if that doesn't do it for you, and listening to them, I don't know what's going to get through, to be honest, because they speak with their hearts, their minds, and their love. And we need to let that impact every single one of us.
Wow,
and then live it.
And the end, living it. That's right. At the end, living it. And maybe taking some of those people by the hand, right? And say, come on, you got to walk and learn. So that is so true. Thank you for that, Bobby. And Pete, I don't know if you wanted to, I'd like to hear what you have to say about that.
I think it's tough following these three, so it's almost, what do they say? Be brief, brother, be brief. But, I think, I said something to a group, a couple weeks ago, and I just talked about it, called it Lou, and it was LOU, and it was just lift others up. And I think that's completely what they do. I think sometimes we look at this, that this was a adult and, and giving credit, thanks Pete and thanks Bobby, and, there's Shanna and there's Michael Hunter and Brian and David. And the fact of the matter is they kept coming back because there were other people that were lifting people up. And that's exactly what they've done. Desiree has done that for me for a number of years with her involvement in the things that she's done and what she said and how she's reflected on different things and provided me and made me look at things through a different perspective. Evelyn, I think people talk about, this pandemic, and it's like, okay, I want to get out of a face covering and a mask and this, that, and the other. And I said, what this has allowed us to do is, from a strength base, is it's allowed us to concentrate on something that that we haven't concentrated on with a lot of people, and that's made us look into people's eyes.
Yeah.
And so when you sit there and you're concentrating, you're looking into people's eyes, and their words are coming out, you're seeing the intention, you're seeing the intentionality, you're seeing the meaning, and you're seeing something that I don't think we spent a lot of time doing, in the last couple of years. And so it's not just events of 2020. Desiree was engaged and her advocacy and her making access for people and bringing awareness and assessing things happened long before that, in that engagement. Evelyn will happen long after. Mrs. E was doing that long before. There's people like Mrs. Bullock and Mrs. Miller and Mrs. Stokes and Dr. Kirkland, Jaden Ferguson. I mean, there are so many other people, and so what this documentary is it's a great showcase, it's a great piece, but if that's all it is and that's all it becomes and it gets put on a shelf and we got, a certain amount of likes and then it's done, then it's kind of all for naught.
Right.
It should be timeless about what the message is, but also there is still a need, and the sad part is it's the same need that we had in 1950 and 1960 and 1980 and 1990 and 2000.
Right.
And so my hope would be is that this documentary is not the highlight and it's not the best moment ever for these individuals, and Desiree's encounter with Pete is not her best moment ever in life, but that this is the catalyst for something bigger and better. And she comes back and says, hey, it was great knowing you, but 5 years ago, I did this and I met this person and I'm doing this. Because if they're coming back in 10 and 15 years and talking about this was the best moment and the best thing that ever happened to them, then really as an educator, as a community, as a school district, we haven't done our job. I think Desiree said it best, and I keep going back to it, as it says, like, I can't remember exactly where it was, but it says, I will not get to experience equity, full equity during my time in Lincoln Public Schools, and I think you can articulate it. Go ahead, and I'm going to let you say it.
I just realized that it being my senior year, even though, the most had been going on through that school district, I feel like I wasn't going to be able to experience full equity on at the district, but I wasn't doing it for myself. I wasn't doing that work for myself. I was doing it for the future generations of students that are going to go in and, including my family members, so yes.
That is very well said, and it's true, because I feel the same. So thank you for sharing that. And it is important that at some point in time, that next generation does experience equity in schools or in life. And I foresee both of you coming back 5-10 years from now and being leaders, because I think that is important. We need to bring up our leaders, and to bring you up, we have to make sure we hold on and walk forward, right? So that is well said. Thank you. So Pete, I know you have 2 books here. And I don't know if you want to share, but one thing that I would like to know more about is the rally, the march. How do we support it? How do people watch this documentary?
Yeah, so a couple different things. These are just some examples of books we've done in the past, and this was this year's book, and so a long list, and so we'll definitely have a list on our website. You can go to mlkyouthRally.com, and it has a link to the documentary, but also just other things in regards to the rally and march. Also on the LPS website, you can type in the key in the search, "We Will Not Be Silent," and it'll take you to a full listing of profiles of the scholars, but also a link to the video. It's available on YouTube. It's the best thing going. It's free. So the best 4-letter word out there that you can look at. I will say Brian and David, as they would say back home, put their foot in it. I mean, it is It is Netflix worthy. I know, what is it, Squid? Is that the thing that's on, or whatever else is the thing that's going? But I will say, like, hands down, they really have done something special, and it's appropriate for all ages.
Yes.
Family viewing, whether it's 5, we've had 5-year-olds on up to individuals that are more seasoned. I don't ever say old, but are a little more seasoned to watch. But you can go onto YouTube and just type in "We Will Not Be Silent," and it'll bring up the link so you can look at it. We are going into our 27th year of the Youth Rally in March, which will be, I believe, January 16th. I want to make sure I got the date right, but 17th, I'm sorry, January 17th. It's January 17th. It's the third Monday in January. I always try to stay away. Third Monday in January. We're still in a pandemic, so last year it was completely virtual.
Right.
We are hoping for at least a hybrid type event or experience this year. It's not just an event, but an experience, but we will have it in some form or fashion. If you want information or you have scholars that would like to be involved, again, you can email me at P as in Pete, and then Ferguson, Ferguson, number 88 at yahoo.com. And we would welcome people, whether they're in Lincoln Public Schools, we've had individuals from surrounding communities or parochial schools be involved, or if you would just like to support. I mean, to be perfectly honest, this is, it is not just, it is a community experience. It is owned by the community, and I think that's what is so unique, is that we're not tied to one entity, but also with that, it does take an investment of not only just the time, but also the talents, but also resources financially to move it forward. We're not running a $100,000 budget, but we have had some people really step up to support, including Lincoln Public Schools and Raft and the City of Lincoln and the Lincoln Journal-Star, just to name a few. So we would encourage you to look, be educated, be empowered, and be inspired, but also they get to do something that's very unique, is also entertain. I'm excited about some components that we've already worked on that will have, it's grown past just Lincoln, and so we're going to have, there's a component from Omaha that's going to make a reappearance that was absolutely powerful a number of years ago. We also are working on some other things that we are truly thinking that it's not just about Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King, but it's about all those individuals that have contributed to the dream, and that's youth, like the 1960s Birmingham Children's March. That's our Hispanic and Latinos and Latinas, and our Middle Eastern brothers and sisters, and that's our Asian brothers and sisters who are experiencing a tremendous amount of hate with the pandemic going forward. Our LGBTQIA plus community. It really is about, Dr. King didn't have a dream just for black men.
Right.
He had a dream for white women to achieve equality. He had a dream for 8-year-olds to achieve equality. He had a dream for educational equality. And when we talk about that walk together, in order for that to happen, in order for that civility, equity, and justice and kindness to occur, it's going to have to be what they talked about, and it's going to have to be about all of us lifting others up. And it's not just the responsibility of 45-year-olds or 12-year-olds or 90-year-olds or individuals with money or individuals that are struggling financially. It's going to require each and every one of us to own that walk and own some steps. And until we do that, we never truly will get to equity. We will never truly get to experience what each and every one of us should and need to experience. And I have a belief that will happen. I'm not just hopeful about it. I have a belief that will happen. Otherwise, we wouldn't continue to do this.
Absolutely.
So thank you for the space, and thank you for the time, but also for those watching, please, I think the biggest thing you can do is engage. If you see a young person out, if you see somebody else, let's not worry about this and how long this lasts, but let's concentrate on the thing that we can see, and that's each other's eyes, and engage that way.
Wow, you've done such an awesome job. I've lost at words, and I know it's going to come through, and I apologize. But you know what? You hit it right there. It's taking each other and lifting everybody else up collectively. Not just one group or another, but all of us collectively to do our part to make sure our world is better.
Right.
Not just now, but in the future. Not just for some of us, but for all of us. That's where equality, civility come in play, right? And so I appreciate the time that all four of you have taken to be here with us today. We will make sure that the contact information is at the end of the program. And if you have any questions, comments, if you want to donate, whether it's your time, talent, treasure to be able to make this, to continue with this. And I hope that especially the documentary becomes part of, the curriculum. I think that is important. And it's important because our students, they're not actors, they're not actresses, right. They are who they are, they're real. And in good old Midwestern Lincoln, Nebraska. And you're right, it is Netflix worthy. It is so impactful, so much information, and it's that emotion that comes through that really impacted me, right? Because I can't talk for everybody else, but it really did. And so thank you, all of you, so much for taking the time to give a boost and I had never thought about it. It's looking at our eyes, look at each other's eyes and bringing each other up and walking together for a better future. So Bobby, Evelyn, Desiree, Pete, Ferguson, thank you so much for being here today. And with that, we will wrap up this session. We look forward to seeing you at that social justice later on today. And just remember, we all have rights.